Chapter 12 is compensation, everyone's favorite topic. So compensation is pretty straightforward if it's salary, but there's other things you can receive as compensation that have tax implications or may not have tax implications. And when you're looking at different packages, it's important to know the tax implications of the compensation so you can make the right decision. And there's several examples in Chapter 12 that help you realize, for example, you may be getting more money in one job, but getting more non-taxable fringe benefits in another job that you actually would use. And there sometimes are non-taxable fringe benefits that you don't use, and so those don't really benefit you. So it's really important to understand the tax implications and evaluate those accordingly. So I'm looking at a problem, and this one has 4 compensation packages to choose from. There's an option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4. I'm in the comprehensive problems. And 3 have health insurance, 1 doesn't. 1 gives stock, and 1 gives stock offerings. And so they're a little bit different, and this person is trying to determine which one would be the most beneficial for me because some of this is taxable and some of it is not. So the first thing you look at is what is the after-tax value of each option. That's where you want to start. So we'll take option 1, we have option 2, option 3, and option 4. Okay, and in the first option, so I'm trying to find my tax rate. I think we have to have a tax rate that we're using 35%. So the marginal tax rate is 35%, and we're assuming that this person spends $3,000 in after-tax dollars for health expenses when he doesn't have health insurance. So we're going to look at that as an outflow. So we're going to start with option 1, and we have salary, which is $60,000. And then we have this one doesn't have restricted stock. Okay, so we don't have anything there. So I'm going to go ahead and put this though because we do have one of the other options. So we have taxable total. And then we have tax rate. And we have tax paid. And then we have after tax value, cash value, NQOs, healthcare, and those are expenses, and then after-tax value. Okay, so this is kind of how we're going to do this. So this one has no restricted stock, and so it's taxable, or just those two added together. Tax rate, we're going to use 35% for each of these, so the tax paid is going to be $21,000. Oh, that hurts, doesn't it? And then our after-tax cash value would be $39,000. There's no NQOs with this one, and we have $3,000 of healthcare expenses, and so our after-tax value is going to be $36,000. Okay, that one's pretty straightforward. Option 2, we have a salary of $50,000, so it's less. We have no restricted stock, and I think I can maybe now why did it change that? Okay, there we go. Thought I might be able to get that to work, but this one has no health care expenses because there is coverage. Okay, now we have the next option, which has a salary of $45,000. Restricted stock, we have 1,000 shares, and it told us in the problem that those are worth $10 per share. So that's going to be $10,000 of taxable income. I didn't add those. which is going to give us an after-tax cash value of $35,750. This one also does not have insurance. Does have insurance, sorry. And so we are at $35,750. So far, this first one's looking good. Now, one thing to keep in mind, healthcare expenses, you can estimate, but you don't ever know for sure. It could be more or less. So just keep that in mind on this one. So salary in this last one is $45,000. We don't have restricted stock, but we do have NQOs, and it tells us the options allow the employee to purchase 10 shares at $5 exercise price. And so basically what you're getting is a $5 discount for 1,000 shares. And so you're getting $5,000 of compensation. That's the way we look at that. I could have carried that over, but oh well, that's okay. All right, so then we're going to carry these formulas over. And we have right here, we have to pay that $5,000 at the time. And in all fairness, I think you should consider the future value of selling those, but they're not, so that's okay. Because basically on this restricted stock, you're having to pay tax and you're having to also pay for the stock. That's why they show it as a negative down here. But you could turn around and sell it. So there's that. But anyway, based on this information, option 1 is still your best option, a higher salary. Now, keep in mind, healthcare expenses, if it's more than $3,000, one of these might have been a better option. If it's less than $3,000, this is still your best option. So, one thing to consider is the health of the individual. The rest of these problems are very similar. It's just understanding like what's taxable and what isn't. So like if you're looking over at problem 53, and I'm not going to work through the whole thing, but in problem number 53, it talks about some different fringe benefits. And so this one you've got a salary and you have to pay for parking, which is not tax deductible. You have to purchase life insurance. And the other package is a smaller salary, but it does have health insurance. It has free parking. It has life insurance included. And it has free flight benefits. So that estimates to save her about $5,000 a year. If she chooses the first package, it would cost her in the flights. And so it's asking which one of those would be the best for her. So in this one, option 2 is better. Like I said, I'm not going to work through this, but the thing that you have to consider is the salary is taxable. The health insurance is not relevant. The life insurance is taxable, the premium. Parking would be taxable as well. And so she definitely would have some more taxability there. But with the other one, she's got the cost of parking, the cost of life insurance, and the cost of flights. And so if you're looking at after-tax dollars in that first scenario, she's better off with option 2. Now, assuming that the first package has a $100,000 salary instead of $90,000, then she's better off choosing option 1 because it raises the salary enough to cover some of those expenses. So she has negotiating power to back up, or I should say she has facts to back up her negotiating power if she wants to come back to them and say, I won't do it for 90, but I'll do it for 100. And so, again, it's something you personally will use, but it's also something that your clients will call you and say, hey, I've been offered a job, blah, blah, blah. What do you think? Well, you can calculate after-tax dollars, but you do have to be careful and let them know that these are estimates. Also, that's an estimate. Taxes can change. As we saw with the Tax Reform Act, there were huge changes in taxes, which really messed up a lot of people in their planning. The other thing is anytime you have stock involved here or here, then we have the opportunity to make money or lose money, and that's something else to consider.